right, how we doing? Great.
What do you see when you look at tape like Jordan Love?
Really polished player. Matt's done a great job with him, especially you saw the growth from last year. I think he really started to ascend, really started with our game last year, and you kind of saw the growth from afar. They just do a good job. They're so well coached. They got really a diverse group of playmakers where they can establish a run, and then they pick and choose their spots when they want to go for explosives, and they can spread it out. So really well-rounded quarterback. Obviously, a lot to deal with.
We probably will not get an opportunity to talk to you until after the bye, just based on how the schedule kind of works.
Sure.
So during that time and moving into this game, of course, but through that period of time, what are some of the key elements that you yourself are looking at in terms of all three layers of your defense?
You saying
In terms of like just things that you've
for the
seen so
bye?
far during that time, what you would like to see improve, those types of things.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's always things that you're going to want to improve on all three levels. When it comes in the front, it's just being able to adjust and hit blocks and play consistently on the second level, fitting the runs, and being consistent with their drops and things like that. And I think it's the same for the third level. And we've been stressing, it's about communication, playing together, and I know we've had a few moving parts, but I don't think it's an excuse for anything that we got to play, and we expect to go play well.
And Sean mentioned the communication on the back end. Obviously, losing JJ is big there. But what do you need more of from that group, secondary specifically, that
Yeah,
communication?
we've stressed in exactly what you said. The biggest thing is over communicating. That's really what we're talking about. When you go out to walkthroughs, when you go out to practice, don't assume the guy next to you knows exactly what's going on. And I think when you do that, there becomes a comfort level. You can go out and play faster, and then it goes out in the game, and you start playing faster and playing better.
As you've seen Jared through these first four games, how have you seen him grow from the beginning of the season?
Yeah, he's done an excellent job. He plays hard. He's done a better job with his assignments as he goes. I think he's continue as an understanding of the NFL game. Obviously, there's some different things that we've asked him to do as far as standing up, as far as from what he did at Florida State. And you can continue to see him getting more and more comfortable as he's done each and every week, and continues to play hard. And really happy to have him.
Can you expand on that when you say the NFL game compared to Florida State? What do you teach them?
Yeah, so like in college, Kurt, in what he did at Florida State in the ACC is there's a lot of what you see is just a lot of spread out. So we call it just clean edges. You're just standing there playing over a tackle, and there's not really anybody next to you. You're not necessarily sitting over a tight end with the quarterback under center. He had that a lot in college, where you can really only get when that happens. Really, the tackle, if it's a run, can really only go down, right? And maybe someone could pull at you, or he could come out at you, right? There's kind of two types of blocks you can get. Whereas in the NFL, there's a lot of different ways that Sean and a bunch of these guys like to affect the edges, and so it's a lot of that's to slow these guys down, these elite players, because they're so good and they're so talented that if you just give them a clean edge, it's going to be tough.
And when you're scheming against Matt, the guy that you personally know, does it feel like you're looking in the mirror? Is it hard not to overthink, or is it just following principles?
We're used to it now. It was the same last week. Obviously, Shane Waldron is a good friend, and Matt's the same way. And Matt hasn't been here, and it's been since 2017, and obviously great friend and really close with obviously Mike and everything. But it's not something I like to overthink. You really go into it trying to stop them like any other offense.
Is there um, is there anything that you guys can do other than just beat the odds in terms of creating more interceptions, or is that just
Yeah.
kind of left over?
Hey, that's the age-old question, Gary. If there was something, if I knew it, I would do it right now. But that's something you harp on. We know that's one of the most important things, as everybody knows. Other than points, that's the biggest stat when it comes to winning and losing. And I think it comes with playing good defense, and it comes with playing good defense. You create yourself more opportunities. You get them in more vulnerable situations. You create more third and longs. You can make them throw it, things like that. A lot more takeaways happen on pass plays. So when teams are on schedule running the ball every snap, it's a lot harder to take the ball away. So that's really kind of the main things.
But it doesn't seem, at least that I can recall, that it's not like you've had a lot of missed opportunities with balls in the air or balls that could
There's
have
been a few on the
intercepted.
ground, but yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, off the top of my head, I do agree with you. It's not like there's been a lot. I wouldn't say there's been a ton of dropped interceptions or anything like that. Any missed opportunities. And I think that goes back to what we just said, where you got to force these guys to throw the ball and put them in those situations. And and then you have a lot better chance of taking the ball away.
When you see Christian Rose move on DJ Moore in the red zone, what gives you confidence in that matchup?
Yeah, that was just a not a good plan on my part. They lined up in empty, and yeah, that wasn't the adjustment we were looking to get to.
And then looking at Tre'Davious White, his confidence has been pretty much unshaken, although he's given up a few big plays. What do you attribute that to?
It just goes to the elite competitor that he is. He's been doing it for a long time since his rookie year. I think it was 2017, and it just shows the type of guy that he is. And he's had a couple unfortunate situations where whether it's been his fault or not, he's been the primary on some of these touchdowns and obviously some of the penalties. And we just look forward to continue coaching him, continue to work with him, and trying to put him in good positions.
Chris,
Couple more.
I'm paraphrasing slightly, but Sean mentioned earlier this week that expressing some disappointment with how they've played on offense so far. Obviously, a lot of moving personnel very early in the season, and he said it's affecting the way that you guys can play defense. I'm kind of wondering if you could explain what that means in your mind as you're working with him to build a complete team.
Yeah, I mean, I think what he means is he's just talking about whether the offense. I think from his standpoint, always wants to control the game, continue to get first downs, control the clock, score points, right, and then you get in positions where maybe you can run. But I think we definitely have our hand in that too, where the offense can't get ahead if they're not scoring. So it kind of goes hand in hand with everybody, and every time we want to go out there, every single drive, we want to go out and play good defense and get those guys the ball back as fast as possible, whether it's a 3 and out or that's a takeaway, like Gary said.
And then one last question on Jared. A couple of teammates, and then obviously when you watch it too, it seems like as the game goes on, he almost can build power, and he just doesn't seem to wear out
Yeah,
at all. When did you first notice that? It's not something that maybe would stand out right away in training camp when you can't have full contact. And how do you maximize that, understanding you might be able to turn that on in key moments?
Yeah, and we like to keep all those guys fresh, but we noticed that in college. He's got a motor, and that's one of the things we loved about him. And he's got a motor, he's got an attitude, and when you play like that all the time, whether you talk about training camp, whether you talk about OTAs, we talk about effort is a skill, and you create muscle memory, and when you're able to do that, that's just how you play the game all the time. And because of that, he's able to get stronger throughout the game. I think that's part of getting more comfortable and all that type of stuff.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
All right, thanks guys. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.